Why is the royal family terrified about Harry's upcoming memoir? Hey, I'm your host Bridget Shields, and let's get right into the story. According to royal biographer Tom Bower, the royal family is hugely nervous about Prince Harry's memoir. Bower told Page 6 that the Duke of Sussex's upcoming book is a time bomb, and it will include material about how he and Meghan were snubbed and several other stories about the royal family, and it will also include in it a chapter of the Queen's funeral. Harry's memoir was originally scheduled for release in November, but it has already been pushed back until sometime next year. It has been reported that Harry is desperate to rewrite the book in the wake of Queen Elizabeth II's passing, wanting to take out or downplay what he wrote about King Charles III, Queen Consort Camilla, Prince William and Kate Middleton. Random House said in the press release, Prince Harry will share for the very first time the definitive account of the experiences, adventures, losses and life lessons that have helped shape him. They tease the book as an honest and captivating personal portrait. Recently, the memoir has been the focus of tabloid reports, with questions about how it may have contributed to tension between him and his brother William, and how the figures named will handle its revelations. Royal commentator Tina Brown told the Daily Beast, Harry's memoir will resurface a particular agony for Charles, and will explore Harry's relationship with his mum Diana, and the aftermath of her death in 1997, as we know that he was only 12 years old at the time. Brown said that the Queen was restabilized after the death of Diana, whereas Charles has continually battled to end those ghosts. The rehabilitation of Camilla's image has been utterly successful, but she lives in dread of Harry's book. In some ways, Diana's ghost still rattles at the gate. Random House previewed the book's contents in the announcement, saying it would span from childhood to fatherhood essentially. It is set to cover Harry's lifetime in the public eye, from childhood to present day, including his dedication to service, the military duty that twice took him to the front lines of Afghanistan, and the joy he has found in being a husband and father. Harry promises an accurate and wholly truthful account of his life. In a statement accompanying the announcement, Harry gave an insight into his approach, saying, I'm writing this not as the prince I was born, but as the man I have become. I've worn many hats over the years, both literally and figuratively, and my hope is that in telling my story, the highs and lows, the mistakes, the lessons learned, I can help show that no matter where we come from, we have more in common than we think. Many royal experts have said that King Charles is holding off on whether or not he will bestow the title of Prince and Princess to Harry and Markle's children, Archie and Lilibet, until the couple's various media projects are released. So far, the children have been denied royal titles and will not be granted HRH status. This means that they cannot be referred to as His or Her Royal Highness by order of the King. The status has customarily been given to the grandchildren of the reigning monarch, and because little Archie and Lilibet are the King's grandchildren, they are technically entitled to the status, but King Charles chose not to allow it. There have now been reports of tense talks between the new king and the Sussexes over the title, and apparently the couple are furious that their children are being left out. It means that Archie and Lilibet won't be invited to important royal events, won't receive a taxpayer-funded salary, and won't be able to have the protection of royal security when they visit the UK. Not only that, but in social situations, no one would be required to bow or curtsy to them when they approach, although Archie and Lilibet might be allowed to use the title Prince and Princess in the near future, which would still be very impressive. In her explosive interview with Alison P. Davis from The Cut magazine, Meghan dropped quite a few bombshells recently. She detailed her various exploits after leaving the firm, which includes podcasting and multiple Netflix ventures. She also brought up the family's new 3-tier company Archewell that was launched in October of 2020, mostly as a way to make some cash following the infamous Megxit. Although the company has not released much in the way of concrete content, it was revealed that Harry and Meghan managed to score a whopping $25 million Spotify deal and a $100 million Netflix deal for their work. They've been working on a Netflix docuseries for more than a year. Page 6 reported that the Duke and Duchess have also wanted to re-edit the series, which Netflix has hoped to air in December, following the 5th season of The Crown on November the 9th. But the edits would potentially push back its release until later in 2023.
Harry and Meghan have been left furious after learning that their two children, Archie 3 and Lilibet 1, will not be receiving HRH titles when they are appointed Prince and Princess by King Charles III. HRH stands for His or Her Royal Highness. It is a style used to address or refer to some of the members of the royal family, usually princes or princesses. Monarchs and their consorts are often referred to as Majesty. The children are set to be officially made Prince and Princess in the near future, as Charles has agreed to issue a letters patent to grant the titles. Harry and Meghan Meghan are worried about the security issue, and being prince and princess comes with the right to have certain levels of royal security. The children are able to be prince and princess, but will not take the HRH title because they are not working royals. They made sure to point out that Prince Andrew's daughters have HRH status despite not being working royals. Letting the kids be prince and princess but not having the HRH titles would be a classic compromise. Royal expert Phil Dampier said that though their children are still high up in the line of succession, they will not be working royals, so it's quite right that they do not have the titles. Lots of people think that Harry and Meghan themselves should lose their titles, and Dampier thinks maybe they should just accept the compromise and be grateful, as it could be a lot worse for them and their children. When asked if it was important for Meghan that Archie be called a prince, she said she doesn't have any attachment to the grandeur of the official titles. A royal expert has made a revelation that Meghan Markle has reportedly requested King Charles for a meeting before she returns to her home in California. The Duchess of Sussex is apparently planning to discuss the important royal matter in the meeting. A YouTuber by the name of Neil Sean has claimed that Markle wants to clear the air with the monarch. Sean said, "It's a very brave move from Meghan herself. She's requested to heal rifts before her departure," and Mr. Sean claims that he has heard from a very good source that Markle has sent a letter to the king for a private conversation. "You know you have to admire Meghan's self-belief, whatever you think," Sean said. "If her request is true, then I agree with him. Regardless of what you think, that must have been a hard thing for her to do." The royal expert shared that it is mandatory to request the king's presence through a letter. He shared that according to that good source, her request was made in a formal letter. That is how you write to the king, through his equerry, and then of course that passes on, etc, etc. Sean explained basically according to this letter, she feels it would be an opportunity to clear the air, sort the rights from wrongs, and explain some of the rationales behind what they've been doing over the last 2 years. If what Mr. Sean says is accurate, props to Meghan. It can't be easy to sit down with your father-in-law, who also happens to be the King of England, to explain why you left the royal family and moved to California. Sean ended with, "Truthfully, we have no idea whether this is going to go on forward, but I think it's a brave move for Meghan. I hope that the meeting does go forward, and I hope Meghan takes the chance to make some peace with the family. I think her talking things out and making amends with the king will also hopefully cause the British media to let up on the poor woman. Regardless of what she says or if people like her, there was never any need to be quite so aggressive towards her, in my opinion."
What happens if King Charles and Camilla get divorced? The day before her Platinum Jubilee, Queen Elizabeth II announced that Camilla will be known as Queen Consort when Charles becomes king. This indicates that she is the spouse of a king instead of getting the title of queen, because members who marry into the royal family cannot inherit the throne. But what if they get divorced? Back in the day, getting a divorce was basically killing your social life, but society has changed. It would still be a huge deal, as something like this hasn't happened since Henry VIII, which makes it hard to say what would actually happen. She is now no longer Princess of Wales or Duchess of Cornwall, since those titles have been given to Kate Middleton. It's likely that she would receive some kind of title, likely staying a part of the family in some form, and some kind of private financial settlement, but other than that, we don't really know what would happen.